Welcome into Paul Catalina's Top 5, brought to you by Texas Beef House. Of course, use our promo code 365sports when you go on bitonbeef.com for that next auction. These are teams that have taken the most transfers in this cycle. And let's see if we can find a common through line. I don't know if I really have just yet, but there are some common themes. So, most so far, and the portal's only been open, it's been open for about 3 weeks now, almost a month. Let's go. Number 5, Arizona at 19. They've lost a ton of players. They've lost Teteroa McMillan to the draft. They did keep Noah Fafita, but they've lost guys like Takario Davis, likely going to Washington. Even though a lot of people thought he might be able to go in the NFL draft. But Brent Brennan going into year 2 at Arizona and year 2 in the Big 12. 19 transfers so far, and I expect that number to go up maybe by about 10 or more as we go on and they build that roster. They've lost a ton of players and a ton of players off the team from 2 years ago that was so good in their last year in the Pac-12. Number 4. Louisville, also at 19, I guess technically tied for 5th, but I didn't want to get into this whole thing. So we did 19 here. Louisville was a team that was pretty good. This was kind of good this year, but faded down the stretch a little bit, really just couldn't get over the hump. But a good team. Miller Moss highlights their transfer portal class. This is the second year in a row they've taken a massive amount of transfers. As Jeff Brom tries to create some consistency at Louisville, they're kind of caught in the wash in the ACC, where they're right there close to the top. Of course, 2 years ago, or last year in the ACC championship game and lost. And then this year, kind of just in the middle. And we'll see how it goes, in the very large ACC with a ton of teams in it and how they can find their way through that as the schedule changes. But I expect to see this to be about the standard for them. He's kind of a portal king, Jeff Brom there. But 19 transfers so far at Louisville. Number 3. Jeff Lebby in year 2 at Mississippi State. He's taken 20 transfers, lost a quarterback in Michael Van Buren, who's the heir apparent now to Garrett Nussmeier at LSU, which is a huge pickup for the Tigers. So Van Buren played this year and played really well. But for the Dogs here, they're just trying to find who they are under Jeff Lebby, find those players that fit. And year 1 wasn't great. So year 2, you kind of have to wipe the slate clean, bring in more. I would not be surprised to see this number go up significantly, a lot like Brent Brennan at Arizona State. Number 2, and the most interesting one to me here, not something I thought I would see, is Oklahoma State taking the second most so far, and probably have to take more just because they've had a mass exodus because of graduation. Not even guys jumping in the portal, which they've had that too, but graduation, NFL draft, those things have taken over. And when you go 0-9 in the Big 12, not really a lot of options here. Mike Gundy pushed to the limit on coming back, and there was a fight there with the powers that be at Oklahoma State over whether he was for a little while. So new coordinators on offense and defense with Todd Grantham on defense and Doug Meacham, an Oklahoma State legend like Mike Gundy, coming back to coach the offense. So expect to see a ton. Look, they only have one offensive starter back this year, and then 2 if you count Garrett Rangel, the quarterback, who only started 1 game before he got hurt. So there's a lot of questions about Mike Gundy, and if he doesn't get it turned around this year, he's not going to be able to bring in portal players for Oklahoma State next year because he will be gone. And number 1, another coaching change here. Scott Frost and UCF have taken 23 so far. Not surprising, Gus Malzahn left. A bunch of those players left. Scott Frost is bringing in players he's familiar with. He's back where he wants to be. So really, this one not all that surprising because they're putting in Scott Frost's system again. They're kind of going back in time a little bit in Orlando. And we'll see how Scott Frost does that. But that number will probably even get bigger because when you've got that coaching change and one like that, the systems are just different enough with Scott Frost and Gus Malzahn, a ton of guys. Plus, not to mention, they lost R.J. Harvey, Kobe Hudson. They're going to need new, quarterbacks. Multiple quarterbacks are gone. Multiple offensive linemen are gone. Multiple defensive players are gone. They're going to need just players. This is a quality and quantity situation at UCF because of Gus Malzahn leaving to go to Florida State and Scott Frost making his return trip for the reunion concert in Orlando. That's going to do it for us. We're wrapping it up right now.